Imagine spending the previous night Netflix and chilling. Imagine having spoken to your mom, telling her you love her all across the other part of Europe. And then imagine if you were arguing with your sister that the next time you met her, you're going to have a particular type of topping on your pizza. Now imagine waking up and then realizing that your favorite pizzeria is no more because now it's in the rubble. Imagine waking up to find out that your mom or your loved one is no more. Imagine waking up to find out that the school that you actually attended, that was once your favorite place in the whole world, is also no more. Now imagine if you didn't have to imagine. For some people, this has been a reality. My name is Solace-Rose. Welcome to Tallinn Talks, episode 9. In today's interview, we're talking about the aftermath of the Ukrainian war. Now, on the 24th of February, some bad news came in for all of us, but for particularly people from Ukraine. And Tallinn has opened its borders to them. We've talked about the refugees, we've talked about the political aspect, we've talked about so many things, but today we want to focus on other Ukrainians who actually live in Tallinn. Those who probably came in a little bit earlier and those who have lived here longer and who actually are residents here. We want to talk to them, want to pick their thoughts. How did they receive their news to find out one morning that the place they call home is on fire? In the studio, I have here with me Jane, Bohdan, and Khrystyna. Thank you very much for joining us. I see that you got teary-eyed. Is it because of my intro?
Yeah, actually, because what you are talking was just the things that I actually am afraid of imagining now, because I remember Ukraine as I left it. And now I am afraid of coming to my home and seeing it just quietly different. Because till, it may sound very stupid, but till I remember Ukraine like this, it exists in my mind like this. And
like what? Tell us.
Like a beautiful country, like my home, like a lot of places I've been visiting. Because due to my work, I deal with flowers. And I'm a flower wholesaler, and to start these businesses, we visited all places in Ukraine, like basically all flower shops in all villages and cities. And I've been to each city and each place in Ukraine. And now I cannot believe that this Kharkiv I now see is the Kharkiv I've been to, is Kharkiv where I had my friends and we were chatting like each week when the flowers were coming to them. The same as Kyiv, the same in Odessa, the same in Kherson, the same in Arbuzhenka, the same in all the places to which we were supplying flowers and where we had friends. And I cannot believe that those places do not exist anymore, like it was.
What are your thoughts? She's shared how she feels. Jane, how do you feel?
Sometimes I really forget that it's real, and really, I remember only yesterday I texted with one of my friends who really, I really don't know many times what to say to my friends there, to my friends who left. And of course, it's become normal to feel guilt for all of Ukrainians wherever they are, or our friends from other countries. And also when yesterday I texted with her, in one moment, I really forgot, I'm not at home. Even I'm studying here from the September, and okay, I get used to this place, but still talking with people, I really can forget that it's nowadays our real life. But maybe because this a little bit, I can say, scare came to me earlier. The months before, it was really hard for me to study. I don't know, 2 days before war, I spent all night crying, and it was not scare. I was just so sorry for my neighbors, for my country. there was like no scare that we will lose it or something like that. I was just so sorry that we have to go through it. And now when I listen all of the stories, sometimes I feel like I have no emotions just because like people saying so emotional and I don't have power to be emotional or say like, yeah, I understand you because I wasn't there when it happened. I heard all these stories, I have seen photos, videos. Yeah, I feel like I was there, but I haven't. So sometimes it's just, I can't say that, yeah, I understand it.
Bohdan, talk to us. How, obviously they're getting emotional and it's totally understandable. I'm getting emotional. How she spoke about guilt, and this is something that is very important. Not being there, being Ukrainian, but not having been there, like firsthand to experience what's happening. Do you feel some guilt?
I have talked with many of my friends when the war started, and many of them who is here, they are feeling this. But I don't feel, because I know that we need to be united now. It's not time to be weak, and that's why we organize humanitarian aid, like helping people. As a lawyer, I also helping some people who came here as refugees. So when those weak moments is like coming to you, maybe a bit you feel, but you understand that it's not time for this. So you need to be focused. We are like their nation fighting, but Ukrainians there need to understand that they are not alone. Those people who are in Estonia, Finland and other countries, they are also like one team. We are working for our win. So a bit maybe yes, but overall I don't feel guilty because I know that we will contribute in our victory in the future.
Okay. Now walk us through how you found out about the war. I particularly, my phone was off, was on airplane because I was at the Independence Grounds for the flag hoisting. I was really happy. It was the first time I was going to witness this in Estonia. And then by 9 a.m. my phone was exploding because I had so many messages from different media houses asking me what is happening in Estonia, how Estonia's reacting. I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? Then I found out and I am like in shock. How did that news come to you?
I have checked news and I understood the tension between on the border, but by the end I didn't believe that it could happen. Like I didn't believe that they will really do this, try to occupy my country. But it was very long day before. I have been working a long time, and I just went sleep and turned off the internet, of course, and sleep longer next day. And after I turned on my internet, my phone was beeping, I think 2 minutes without any moment of rest. It was like everybody was writing me, and all the news channels wrote in their places that the war started, the militaries in Ukraine. And after I start to call all my friends and say, look, because many of them live in Kiev and in those cities which were first actually. And I ask, how are you? What is really going on? Is it fake? Maybe not, or what's going on? And yeah, it was that's how I get this, and what was my first steps, what I did after I get known about this, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Khrystyna? Where were you? You have quite a unique story, so share that with us.
I was in Poland because, as I told, I deal with flowers. I have flower businesses in Ukraine, and every year before Women's Day, we buy a lot of tulips from Polish grower. So on Wednesday, I came to him. I have chosen and looked at the quality, chosen all the tulips, and on Thursdays I had to be packed. And on Thursday in the morning, I get up. I was in hotel, and my brother calls me and tells that we were bombed. I thought, how? I cannot imagine what happened. I do not understand. And I called to the grower and said, sorry, I do not understand what's happening. Let's postpone for one day for us to understand what will be next. But during this day, actually, everything was getting worse and worse. And the news were just coming. I was like paralyzed those first days because my family there, all people from my company, they were there. And I was like alone here. But I usually have responsibility on me because I rule the company and I'm responsible for my people. So I had to take decisions and to make them to do something with the flowers which I couldn't return to the grower, to do something with the packing, to tell something for my people. We organized a meeting. I have a team of 20 people and they were waiting for me to say something and to explain them what is happening and what will be happening next. And I did not have any explanations. I just could tell them that I will do the best to make our little world work. That's what I could tell.
Jane, where were you?
I was at home and I just wake up and I had just a few plans with my friends, and in the next moment my neighbor, my friend came to me and said, and I was like, as you said, like what is going on? Even like before that, it's so funny, one moment that I had to came to Ukraine for just a few days to visit doctor, and there was 2 days when I had to come, but it changed. First, it was 16 when like everybody was ready because like the West said, yeah, it will be the day of like starting this aggression, and my parents said like there was a different reason we changed the date, and we changed it to the 23rd. And maybe a few days before, I called to my parents and they said, maybe we'll wait a little bit. Like, if nothing happened, there's like no worry, but like, better you stay there. Yeah, but even like, I trusted my parents in their decision, even we didn't talk all the like details. Yeah, and but I had this feeling like I prepared myself for everything could happen. Like I already knew that few of my friends there went to this army or in like different defense that there is in our country. And again, when I just knew, I don't know why, but I was like, whoa, okay. What will be next? And also, like as you had like a team, and we made a few projects. Like even I stayed here, we had organized like this music event. And in the morning, the first message that I get, it's not like the war started. I get, okay, our event is like canceled. Yeah, and I was like, what's going on? Yeah, and like the first few hours, maybe, yeah, it was really messy. Like I called with all my friends, like with few alumni from the academy where I studied, because it's like a really big circle of people who I trust, and they're really proactive always. So we tried to figure it out something, but yeah, it was really messy because like no one, okay, maybe some people were expecting it, even like in the government, but nobody was really
Nobody thought
ready.
it would actually happen. It's one thing expecting, but
so it was like, okay, I have a plan,
it's the
but
usual,
no, I don't
like,
have.
yeah, there's threats and just, trying to scare you, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it happened. Now, I'm going to go a little bit more like deeper. Has anyone experienced any loss, friends, family? Has anyone passed away from anyone?
In my case, like my friends who living in Kiev was out by that days when it started, and another friend She evacuated like after 2 days after it started. So probably not many friends in Odessa. They are still waiting occupant and ready to fight. So, but no losses, and I'm hopefully feel that it don't need to be happened. So.
Maybe I'm a little bit on the light side because I live in the western part of Ukraine in Lviv. And now it's the city of volunteers, the city of territorial defense, the city of humanitarian aid, the city of helping. Yeah. And well, my girls who are florists now are perfect in making Molotov cocktails. And the usual joke in our city is that, oh, Russians have 8 more rockets. Great, they have 8 rockets less. Basically, it's the mood what we have, but we also had questions for help from our clients, from our partners, from eastern regions. We try to organize them help. We try to provide them shelter in Lviv, and there are basically very awful stories and very horrors. It's something that is beyond human comprehension because the war is not also cannot be made this way. There are, as I was explained, there are rules of war also, and
well, they're supposed to be,
yeah,
but it doesn't always pan out that way. Now let's talk about being here in Estonia. One of the things that came up, and I remember specifically that day when I interviewed a few people on that day about the way what had happened and how Estonians in general felt. The sentiment was that there were those who had been alive, who had experienced the Soviet occupation, were feeling this sense of it's kind of like feeling that in the air, this sense of fear. Do you feel a little bit safer in Estonia? Like, be honest.
I see. And when it started, many people said, "Oh, you're lucky," and I said, "Please don't say that." Like, I was really angry. I was mad. It was like the words, like, don't say that you're lucky because you're somewhere in a different country. Yeah, so you don't feel safe, or what exactly is it? Is it that you feel safe, but because okay, it's strange, but at last time I hear many things like, okay, it's a positive side of all war situation and what's happened. And the positive side, it's that people become more knowledge or they reflect some things for themselves. And also about this safeness or something like that, I ask not to say that I'm lucky because from the beginning, I understood like I don't afraid like death, but I'm afraid the life without the sense, and my sense is my country because I wanted and I still want to study here and come back there and help and like rebuild country. It was like my aim to come here to study and get this knowledge. So also. Yeah, I felt this maybe a few days later when there become some rumors about, oh, there's these ships of Russian, they're close to the border of Estonia. And I have seen a little afraid on the people, and there was like, oh, maybe we also need to get ready, buy some stuff or food or something like that. But I don't know, like, I still have this feeling like that the Ukrainian army is the only that I trust, like they're only who can stop it. And I feel safe only like because of them. And
because like, they're fighting for you.
Yeah, and in one moment I understood like, okay, if something will happen here.
How about you, Bohdan?
I feel like, as she said, physically I feel safe, like by a human being, but emotionally and psychologically, I don't feel I'm living in that news environment where I see every day like the death like destroyed buildings, like dead kids, and it's awful to feel this. You can feel here safe, but you don't like. It's like very strange to explain. Like I was very confused from the beginning. I was mostly not scared, but very confused. I didn't understand how I can act here and how we can organize some help or something. Because as a soldier, I'm not a soldier. I have always been like intellectual part of the society and create and help people from the different side, not with the gun. And I was thinking, what is the next step? How I can act in the Estonia to start to help our people there, or like military, territorial defense, or just people like who need help. Okay. So the safety, it's like in Estonian they say have word enam vahem. It's like so you feel so safe.
Let's talk about your interaction here. One of the things that has popped up across the world, sanctions have been enforced. A lot of Russian citizens and Russian businesses are being affected by these sanctions. Now, let's talk about it from a social perspective. Being Ukrainian, of course, understanding generally that not every Russian citizen would be in support of what Putin is doing. That goes without saying. How have you been able to interact with your Russian friends, colleagues? I know you're in school, and I know probably you might have some interaction with some Russian colleagues and friends. How has that been like navigating those kinds of situations?
Actually, the first days of war, my florists from my team, they have been writing to their colleagues in Russian because they did not believe that they know what's really happening. And they received such answers as, what are you talking about? You are insane, or trying to play us, or something like that. Actually, it was only for one day. Then we stopped any communication. We stopped any further trying to get them acquainted with the situation. They do not want. If they do not want it, we have other problems to decide.
Bohdan, how has your relationship with your Russian colleagues and friends and in general, how has it been affected or impacted by this situation?
Honestly, I don't have so many Russian friends. I don't have them at all, because I have my opinion about Russian as a nation, and I can share with you. I don't want to offend anybody, but when we protested near the embassy of Russian Federation, there was a few Russian, and someone wrote in the Facebook group in expats like, "Look, Russian are protesting also." The guy was standing with the passport, saying I'm ashamed. I saw that. I respect that guy. Okay, but I have a question to them. I also wrote to the admin and also Russian people, like, why I need to protest near your embassy? Why I haven't seen you? As you are like many of you are living in Tallinn, you are like a big community. Why don't show up position? This is individual position, like with the one passport is one stuff. But only few people with the Russian citizens came and show up and say, we are Russian, we are sorry. But here is like so many of them. So, and I have a question to them, why they didn't show up here? What they are waiting for? I don't understand their logic. And I would not really want to understand now. So, because for me, it's very painful topic. And my colleague from the language school wrote me like, look, we are like, I don't support this, of course. But why you didn't, wasn't against this before, like all these years when you grow up that regime in Russia. So now when the critical situation, the people are against, but before they didn't did anything actually to prevent this. So that's my opinion about them.
Okay. Would you not think that would probably be a bit of like a sentimental point of view, considering that probably for some citizens, especially having grown up under that regime and understanding, the political climate that is, and knowing fully well that there have been several reports of even people, protesting in Russia itself, and Moscow and the rest, and being, imprisoned, and so many different types of persecutions. So there are public reports that this is happening, but if you look at the way it's happening and the consequences of that, might it not be a valid sort of reason for someone to, let's say maybe they're afraid to step up, not because they're not against it, but because they are afraid? And would that not be like a valid position to have, that being afraid of persecution could be a valid reason not to stand up for something, no matter how cowardly it might sound?
I agree with you. Let's finish that thought. I was talking about those who are living in Estonia. They will not be prosecuted. They were not going to go to Russia or something to live. They were going to stay and continue work, live, build the families here, but they didn't show up here so much.
So your issue is that they didn't show up to support during the protest. They didn't, come together and stand as a united front against what was happening.
I think they need to be first, not the expats, not like many Georgians came, Ukrainians, like why we need to be there. We of course we need to be there, but they need to be first. They need to fight with this regime. So of course I agree that in Russia they're scared to go to the prisons, but they're like 140 something millions, if I'm not wrong. So why they could not show up? They will not have any room for them to put them in the prison. But I don't have answers for this. I can't understand this Russian mentality. I'm sorry.
Okay, Khrystyna?
Everyone has choice, and every choice has price. And now our people are choosing to die for their country, are choosing to die for their families. It's a very hard choice for them, but they are accused to our military to become military. They're accused, and there is not so just that if they come out in the streets they will be persecuted. Okay, then they can go out of the country and then shout out what they think and what they want to say. There are always many ways, but to do this you have to be free inside.
That's very valid.
Yeah, like when it started, there was few of my friends who said like I'm sorry, or like they didn't live there for a really long time. They don't calling themselves like, I'm Russian. They mostly feel like they're Estonians, but they ask how I am, something like that. And in these points, I can't blame them like for, I don't know. Okay, I can't blame them, but there's only few people who after that made everything they can. Like they helped the refugees with like money, with everything. But this war, as we said, like no one expected, or like we couldn't realize that it would happen. And also from these points, it become like everyone understood like there is some questions that you have to answer exactly, not saying like I don't know or I'm sorry or something like that. You have to do something, or you with that or you against, and if you're against you have to do something. And thanks for my friends, and they do at least something, but I forget what is feeling sorry for the people who are saying, I'm scary, I'm just scary. From my childhood, I remember I asked my parents why it's still there, why they can't do the same that we made a few years ago. And there was some answers from my parents, but it doesn't matter because it's the same. Like, you're scary for that your life will be changed. Okay, you're scared that you'll go for the prison for some years. Okay, but you don't scare for your future, or I don't know, like I really stopped to understand them. Because before that, maybe I believed, okay, they try the best, they tried a little something, but at this moment when like it's become even jokes. Yeah, Ukrainians start to create many memes, and one of them become like these photos where like our cities or homes, they're really like look like nothing. And the same place there's written this phrase, "Oh no, I don't have Spotify." Really? So I don't know. It's the moment when you become feeling maybe cynical, but I'm sorry, but like how it can be understood.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about news. How, being in Estonia, how have you been following news? Like, how do you get news about, what's going on at home? Phone calls, news, any particular news platforms, or how do you get your information about the news?
First of all, through different Telegram bots, and because there are a lot of them highlighting like online.
Okay.
Then I have like bot that tells about every air alarm in my city, when it starts and when it finishes. Every 2-3 hours I have like a message from my brother. It can be just a smile, but this smile will tell that everything is good now. And first days I read all the news, and then I understood that it makes me, like, paralyzes me. The main news are from my family. They tell me what's happening, and of course, all friends, all people whom I trust, they also post like the most important things that are happening. So day and night, you know everything.
Bohdan?
I think that most my sources are Telegram, also those groups where some of the politicians like updating, or like directly people, or like military, even if it's like allowed, updating with the situation and on the front situation. And second, my source, it's actually I listen to streams of the bloggers also who analyze all those Telegram together, and by streams they're collecting money for humanitarian aid also. And we organize in Kopli 70A some center for refugees where they can get the clothes for kids or everybody, actually, men, teenagers. And many people are coming there, like just who arrived in Estonia like same day or day before. They update with the real local situation where they came from. Like, for example, from Vinica, they say that just 8 rockets went to airport, and then they decide to leave the country. So, and many stories, many people from Kharkov, which is very destroyed, and you feel those emotions, and people come to you. They don't know nothing actually about Estonia or something. They just escape, and when they come to you, they want to share with you those emotions which they kept before coming here. So, and you need to be like stronger for them, because you need to help them. You need to take their emotions. And for us, it's also hard. We don't see the rockets here, but as if you are Ukrainian anywhere in the world, it's very hard to. This time, it's hard for us.
Okay. It's obviously, I can see, even talking to all of you, how difficult this is for you. I can't relate because I haven't been in this position, but I can commiserate with you and your brothers and sisters. What we can do right now is to give you an opportunity to talk to the camera and, first of all, tell Estonians something, and then send a message out to your friends, family, brothers and sisters in Ukraine, and all your Ukrainian people across the world. Khrystyna?
All my life, I am a doer. I do all the time something. And now we created project flowersforukraine.com. It's a charity project. All profit for it will go to Save Life in UA and other charity charity organization. We also collect now animal food for animal shelters, because in Ukraine, in our normal life, we always supported them, and they need support because there are so many animals left now. And also our Lviv defense cluster, as I'm from Lviv and many people know me there, they ask for a lot of stuff, a lot of medicine. And if you ever cross me in Tallinn searching for some strange things, I search those things for them. It's what we can do now, because we are in better position here in Tallinn than people there in Ukraine. And as Bohdan said, we have to be strong now. We have to be helpful now, because we connect both these worlds. We know what's happening there and here. And I believe that we can also make the difference, and we can also contribute to our victory. Thank you very much.
I need to speak to Estonian people. I was going to make it in Estonian, but I feel...
Well, you can try. I don't understand. I'm pretty sure they will understand.
Tänu kõigele. I'm really thankful for Estonian people. I see how they are afraid of this situation, even being here. And I see how they giving last salaries, last baby clothes and stuff for Ukrainians. And when they come to our center, we also collect their humanitarian aid, and many Estonians come. And how they would like to share those emotions also. And I'm really happy to be and proud to be in this nation, to live in this society with the Estonians, because Ukrainians will never forget this, your aid, your help to everybody, to refugees that came, for everything what you bring to my office, to another places, for helping people and kids and mothers. And I have so many emotions now when I'm talking, because I don't know how to say thank you for you. It's like a great nation for me. So if any Estonian like listening now this, you need to know that you are parim inimene. Yeah.
You know, sometimes reading the news, and not sometimes, I feel that I can do nothing at the moment. But then I go outside and I see that Estonians are really, like, they feel the same. They feel their responsibility also. And even sometimes nowadays, people saying, oh, West doesn't do anything, but I see that it's not true. Or even like for Estonia, it's not true. Estonia made many things the first one, and really many of my friends sending me some news. Oh, you see, Estonia said this, or Estonia made this, and many of Ukrainians I really appreciate, and I think kind of creating fun club of Estonians, even like you're also small nation as we, or even smaller, but you do really great job, because even when I think like Ukrainians are really stand together and doing everything they can, but you're doing the same, and you're standing with us in any way that you can. And for Ukrainians, I want to say, like, yeah, stay strong, because we will end it as we started together, and it will happen soon, I believe. We just need to be wise and do our best like we can.
I would also like to say thank you to all of you, because what you are now doing for us is a miracle. You are doing a miracle to every person you help. You change the life of this person very much. A lot of Estonians now change lives of me and of my team, and I'm really thankful for you. What you are doing is really great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jane, Khrystyna, Bohdan. I know there's so much more to talk about, and I know that it's not over for you, even when this episode ends. But we're here we're praying with you. We're standing with you. If there's anything else we can do, please reach out to us and let us know. Whatever Talent Talks can do to help, let us know, and we'll definitely, as much as possible, try our best to support in every little way that we can. So thank you so much for being here and for being vulnerable with us and for sharing your stories with us. And I pray for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
So we've talked about a lot. Oh, they did most of the talking. You can see that I'm a little bit teary-eyed. It's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to stand for justice and stand for the right thing. If you wish to donate, remember that there are different collection centers across the various district administrations. You're open to donate clothing, shoes, food, and all that. You can find more information of that on the Tallinn.ee website. You can also find more information about how to help and support the war refugees by visiting www.ukrainians.ee. You can also donate to the Estonian Red Cross or become a volunteer. Simply visit www.redcross.ee for more information. And that's it for episode 9 of Talent Talks. My name is Solace-Rose Quartey. Thank you very much for watching.